Imagine a city buzzing under the scorching sun, where the narrow streets of Baghdad echo with the sounds of heated debates among poets, mathematicians, and astronomers. The year is 1453, but instead of Europe awakening to the Renaissance, it is the Middle East that erupts into an era of art, science, and discovery. What if the Renaissance, that world-changing moment, had begun not in Florence, but in Baghdad? How would the planet look today if the heart of humanity had pulsed from the desert? Let's embark on a journey through an alternate timeline, full of surprises, to discover how this shift would have reshaped history, culture, and even our lives. First, let's return to the real world of the 5th-10th century. In Europe, the fall of Constantinople in 1453 drives Greek scholars to Italy, carrying ancient manuscripts. This ignites the Renaissance, giving rise to names like Da Vinci and Michelangelo. Meanwhile, the Middle East, under the Ottoman Empire and the remnants of the Abbasid Caliphate, enjoys stability but lacks a creative explosion. Baghdad, once a beacon of knowledge during the Islamic Golden Age, no longer shines as brightly. But what if things had been different? What if, instead of declining, Baghdad had become the epicenter of an intellectual revolution? In this alternate timeline, everything begins with an unexpected event. In 1420, a merchant from Damascus discovers a forgotten cave containing a lost library with texts by Aristotle, Ptolemy, and even Indian philosophers preserved by Christian monks. These manuscripts, translated and spread throughout Baghdad, ignite the curiosity of a new generation. Picture young scholars gathered in courtyards under starry skies, debating ideas that blend Greek logic with Arabic mathematics and Persian poetry. The Sultan, a visionary leader named Al-Mansur, sees this as an opportunity to strengthen his empire. He founds the Great Academy of Baghdad, a center of learning that attracts brilliant minds from across the known world. Meanwhile, in Europe, the church still dominates thought. Without the spark from Constantinople, cities like Florence remain mired in feudal disputes. But in Baghdad, the atmosphere is different. The religious tolerance typical of Islam's golden eras allows Muslims, Christians, and Jews to collaborate. A Jewish astronomer, Ibn Ezra, works with a Muslim mathematician, Al-Khwarizmi II, to develop a heliocentric model of the solar system decades before Copernicus. Their ideas, published in books printed with a press adapted from China, spread like wildfire across the Middle East, reaching as far as India and East Africa. Consider the impact of this. While Europe still draws rudimentary maps, Omani merchants sail to Australia, guided by precise star charts. Caravans cross the Sahara carrying not just gold but ideas. In the markets of Zanzibar, poets recite verses blending Arabic and Swahili, creating a new literary tradition. What if these connections had shaped a world where the Middle East, not Europe, dictated the pace of progress? How would your life be different if your smartphone had been invented in Basra, not California? Art also flourishes. In our timeline, the European Renaissance brought realistic paintings and lifelike statues. Here, the Middle Eastern Renaissance blends Arabic calligraphy with Persian painting. Envision vast murals in mosques depicting scenes of daily life, a merchant trading silks, a woman studying the stars, a camel laden with books. These vibrant murals inspire a new school of art that spreads to Persia and India. In Istanbul, a sculptor named Aisha crafts bronze statues that rival Michelangelo's, but with a unique touch. Her figures seem to dance, capturing the movement of the desert wind. Yet not everything is perfect. Baghdad's success breeds envy. Northern nomadic tribes, feeling excluded, attack trade routes. Sultan Al-Mansur responds with a radical idea. Instead of war, he invites tribal leaders to the Great Academy. There, they learn engineering and build aqueducts that turn deserts into oases. This cultural diplomacy becomes a hallmark of the Middle Eastern Renaissance. Rather than bloody conquest, the empire expands its influence through knowledge. But would this be enough to prevent larger conflicts? By 1500, the world is unrecognizable. In Europe, the Protestant Reformation never happens, because Catholicism faces no real challenge. Without the Italian Renaissance, Italy remains fragmented and European colonialism is delayed. Meanwhile, the Ottoman Empire, now a cultural colossus, establishes scientific colonies on the coast of Brazil, where scholars study medicinal plants with indigenous peoples. Imagine a world where the Tupi, instead of being decimated, exchange knowledge with botanists from Baghdad, creating remedies that save millions. Technology also advances rapidly. In 1550, an engineer from Aleppo named Zaid invents a primitive steam engine to irrigate crops. This invention, combined with advanced mathematics from the Great Academy, triggers an industrial revolution in the Middle East 2 centuries before Europe's. Cities like Cairo and Damascus become manufacturing hubs, producing textiles and tools that reach as far as China. What if your car had been designed in Beirut? Or if the first computer had emerged in a lab in Mecca? Now, pause for a moment. Think about the cultural impact. In our timeline, the European Renaissance spread the idea of the individual as the center of the universe. But in the Middle Eastern Renaissance, the focus is on community. Art, science, and even politics celebrate collaboration. In Baghdad, there is no solitary Da Vinci. Instead, teams of artists create collective works. This shapes a less individualistic world, where success is measured by collective well-being. How would it feel to live in such a society? Do you think we'd be happier? Yet it's not all a fairy tale. The Ottoman Empire's global power creates tensions. In Asia, the Mughal Empire, feeling overshadowed, invests in advanced gunpowder weapons, sparking an arms race. In Africa, kingdoms like Mali, though enriched by trade, resist Baghdad's cultural influence, fearing the loss of their identity. And in Europe, Catholic princes, alarmed by Ottoman advances, begin uniting, sowing the seeds of a global conflict. Would this Renaissance bring lasting peace or merely delay war? By 1700, the world is dominated by a network of city-states connected by knowledge. Baghdad, Istanbul, and Cairo form a triad rivaling any empire. Arabic, enriched by Persian and Turkish words, becomes the language of science, much like Latin in Europe. Universities in Cordoba and Samarkand attract students from Japan to South America. And in a surprising twist, a philosopher from Mecca named Fatima al-Zahra publishes a treatise on gender equality, inspiring movements that transform societies from Morocco to Southeast Asia. Today in 2025, what would this world look like? Picture skyscrapers in Baghdad, designed with curves mimicking Arabic calligraphy, gleaming under the sun. The internet, invented in Damascus, connects global communities with forums where people debate philosophy and poetry. Space exploration, led by a consortium of Middle Eastern nations, has already taken humans to Mars, guided by algorithms based on Al-Khwarizmi's mathematics. But challenges remain. Inequality between wealthy cities and rural regions fuels tensions. And Europe, now unified, questions the cultural dominance of the East. Looking back, what does this Renaissance teach us? It shows how a single spark, a lost library, a visionary leader can alter history's course. It makes us wonder, what if the future depended on an idea born right now, somewhere in the world? Perhaps the next Renaissance is already beginning, and it's up to us to nurture it. What do you think? How would the world look if the Middle East had led history? Share your thoughts in the comments, pass this video to a history lover, and subscribe for more journeys like this. Until next time.